Welcome back to Dirtbag Baseball Talk, everybody. Kirk is always with you here, and great being back for another episode. And I'm super pumped about this one because it's a really special one to me. I'm lucky enough to have Thomari Story-Harden on with me today, and Thomari is one of our sponsors with Team Avenue Baseball on our podcast on Sports Byline USA Network. And you've heard me talk about them, and you know what? We appreciate all the questions that you've had coming in and stuff like that. So instead of talking on the podcast, who better and what better to do than bring Thomari on personally, get to see him, get to have a better understanding, a better feel of who he is and what Team Avenue Baseball is all about. So on that note, Dirtbags, we're going to get up, get after it, and get dirty. So Thomari, great having you, buddy.
Hey, Kirk, thank you for having me on your show. I love you, love your show. Love the fact that I'm part of the family now, and I'm really excited about what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. There's no question. And well, because we're doing the right thing at the end of the day, right? We got some unique things as part of the package or whatever and stuff like that, but we're baseball people at the end of the day, right? And like we've talked about off air, the game's been great to us. No matter what level we got to, the game has really been great to us. And I think that's what it's all about, is really paying it forward to the next generation, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's what it's all about. I learned at an early age when it comes to like baseball. I was like that kid, that latchkey kid that, I had a couple mentors that were my friends' baseball coaches that like they mentored me, and they said, hey, they went to my mom and said, hey, I'll sponsor them. I'll pay for them. I'll drop them off. I'll pick them up. And that's what it took for my mom to say yes. And the fact that they did that, I will never forget that, because if it wasn't for them doing that for me, there's a chance that I would never have had the opportunity to play baseball. And baseball's taught me so much. I just feel like I need to pay it forward. And that's why we go all over the world and all over the nation. And whenever we hear a player needs help, we're there. So that's where I learned that from.
Yeah, it's such a special and unique thing, and we need more of them. There's no question about it. So, and you know, I'd love to, and I know we will dive into a little bit more of that information in another episode, because I know that's really special and super humbling, but important to you on a much bigger vision and stuff like that. So I love that part of it. Let's get after it, buddy, with as far as Team Avenue Baseball. So we got the questions coming in. The Dirtbags are wanting to know and stuff like that. Talk to us about it. Where does that concept come from? I know it probably started a little bit with your minor league days with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but how does it come to fruition? Like that's a daunting process.
Well, Kirk, you said it. Playing with the Dodgers, it was a very humbling experience to get that opportunity. And Tommy Lasorda was always in the organization, and he was one of the best motivators, one of the best keynote speakers. He's very passionate about, like, you've got to believe, and so he taught me that. And one of his he would always have these different ways of just expressing, you got to believe. And he always said the road to success comes through the avenue of hard work. And that always kind of just stuck out to me. The avenue of hard work, the road to success, and the way he kind of like blueprinted that, and it kind of, it made me understand it a lot more. And so that kind of stuck out. And then also the team component, so Team Avenue, right? And through the years that we've been able to help players out, it's always like an avenue opening up, or a door opening, and an avenue. So like that's another way where it kind of came back to where it's like opening up avenues because of hard work, because of the pursuit of success. And so that's where the baseball component came in. So Team Avenue Baseball. So that's kind of in 2009. After I was done, I just started thinking about, hey, how can I give back? And that's where the name originated from, Tommy Lasorda.
So there you go. Big shout out, a little Tommy inclusion there and that type of stuff. So, it's so powerful. Again, like you said, with the mentors and just that leadership and guidance and really just a sounding board at the end of the day, those types of people and stuff like that, for sure. So before we get going to the uniqueness of one component of Team Avenue and your cruises that you do. Take us through some of the other things. What are some of the other things? I know you do a bit of training locally or whatever and stuff like that, or I shouldn't say training maybe, but events locally. Take the listeners through a little bit of that. There's more to it than just the cruises and Team Avenue baseball.
Yeah, I mean the Team Avenue baseball mindset and like kind of where it all like what we do is we put on events both local, nationally, and internationally. We break it into two components. Personal development is a huge piece. I was a communication major at USF, and so being able to teach them about the personal development as far as selling yourself to a college coach, that's something that I'm hands-on with in terms of we might jump on a call or Zoom call like this, and there's certain things that players deal with with their high school coaches. Sometimes I'm helping a pro guy, he might be in a slump, and so they kind of lean on me as far as like being able to like kind of on the mental side and the personal development side. So if it's a high school kid, we might be talking about what are you selling to a college coach? Is it who you are as a person, who you are as a student, and then what tools are you bringing to the table? Are you do you have a plus arm or plus defense? Like what's your tool that you're kind of the main thing that you're selling? And hopefully we don't see them very often, but hopefully you may say, hey, 5 tools, but most guys they're going to sell 1 or 2, and that's good. And especially if you really get at that 1 or 2 those tools, well, now you're selling that to the coach. So first, you're selling who you are as a person. What's your character like? Are you doing, community service? Are you, how do you articulate that to someone a coach that's never met you? But you should be able to sell yourself who you are as a person versus just say, hey, I'm me, Yeah. But if you've never met the player, it's like, okay, I'm me isn't going to cut it, And so you got to be able to know what you're bringing on that level. Anytime a player has over a 4.0, I'm like, man, I'm blown away. Just like 4.2, 4.5, 3.8, 3.5. All those are really, it tells a story that you take care of the books and you understand education and how important it is. So that's selling right there. When you start, have you taken the ACT? Have you taken the SAT? That's either a yes or no. If you haven't, what are your plans? And so we're kind of like mapping and kind of getting them ready of, okay, you got to know what you're selling. And like I said, the tools component, it's like, if you can put like just in that order, person, student, athlete, tools, right? If you can break it down like that and you can articulate that and literally sell yourself, because you're always telling your story to as many people that's going to listen,
Sure.
But if you can sell that to a coach and you can get them on the phone, man, that's a big piece right there. And that's not an email or like, that's like, hey, this is me, so that's one of the pieces on the, like when it that's the main foundation of on the personal development side, being able to do that. I know I made it sound easy, but we have different icebreakers and different ways where we kind of coach them along so they can get to that level, so they can sell themselves, in a confident manner.
Definitely.
And
So it's exactly what we talk about all the time. It's really helping that student athlete and their parents create a roadmap. In this case, a successful roadmap to maybe the collegiate level.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's huge. That's huge. So, and I'm going to ask you several times during this episode, because most times I don't, and that's a bad on me, to be quite honest with you. And it's a shame on me. And I apologize, listeners, because sometimes I take it for granted, but I know these things go so fast. So I want to make sure you hear it repetitively from Thomari, where you can locate him and how you can get in touch with him. So this is an important one right here. If you listen to nothing else in this, how do they get in touch with you if they want that roadmap development for college, or even going to maybe they are a draft pick eligible player? How do they get in touch with you, Thomari?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Kirk. So Team Avenue Baseball is our organization. So you can go to teamavenuebaseball.com, or you can actually call me directly at 559 761-9421. Again, that's 559-761-9421.
For sure, for sure. And you'll hear me ask him again, because again, we know that these go so fast that, you know what, it gets oversighted. So you'll have lots of chances to write that down and make sure you can get in touch with the man himself for sure. So that's one component of Team Avenue and stuff like that. So do you have coaches, advisors that help out with that component of Team Avenue and not the excursion side, or do you have some that are all in on everything and some that are just available? Because I know you have a lot of pro level people involved in your association, as well as collegiate and so on down the path. So how does that how's your team look?
Well, I mean, like one of the, my mentor is Reggie Smith, and he's helped me grow Team Avenue from the very beginning. So he's definitely he comes on our events when we're doing national and international events, whenever we're doing anything to do with going into communities, and when we're working on hitting, and obviously Reggie, he has so much knowledge, more knowledge than like stuff that I forget, that he's forgot, like I'm just learning, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, I got to go back to this, you know what I mean? So just being around him, and like when guys need help, like I definitely consult with Reggie. We also have Joey Davis. He's out of the Reno, Nevada area.
Okay.
And so like all my pitching stuff, he's like a pitching, like I know people throw around guru like a lot, and I think that's kind of misleading. I wouldn't call him a guru, but he's one of the best I've ever seen. Like, the reason why I wouldn't call him a guru, because everyone throws that word out, and it's like, what does that really mean? So to define it, for what I look at Joey Davis, when it comes to the detail side of pitching, and when it comes to like how to articulate that to players based off of what he sees, and it's all based on fundamentals and science, just like Reggie, it's all facts and science. Then Joey Davis is definitely, he's been my right hand man when it comes to like trips, and when it comes to teaching the pitching side of things, and so like those guys, and then LC Smith when it comes to our recruiting. LC's both, he's coached at a collegiate level, and he's ran some major programs, and when it comes to the coaching side, as far as like, hey, direct contact with college coaches that he just like sees all the time, just from his experience for over 20 years in the business. He's like, he runs our recruiting department, so when it comes to helping guys, when it comes to that aspect, LC Smith, he runs the whole recruiting department. And we've been rocking since taking kids to the College World Series. We started that in 07 when we joined both of our teams, and we went to the College World Series, and we did the Slump Buster tournament, and the Battle of Omaha, and so with all these coaches and these people that I'm talking about, we've all collaborated, where sometimes we might bring our guys and we bring their guys, and we're coaching together, because it's really about the players. And whenever you can bring knowledge from like all different places, and you're putting it out under one roof, and it may be a tournament, it may be a camp, but like we're all like there for the players. And so we're literally spending all this time, and like sometimes it's 14, 15-hour days of us just like, sometimes we might have to say it a different way. Sometimes we're doing one-on-ones, sometimes we're doing groups, sometimes we're doing personal development, or we're doing public speaking. So it's like all this time that we're just kind of, as much information as we can load them up into the computer, then once it's in the computer, it's just a matter of them being themselves. And then we just kind of sit back and we cross our legs, and we just let them play, and let them kind of, apply all the things that all the information, because a lot of it they know, but sometimes you just have to reboot that computer a little bit so they understand a little bit better.
For sure. For sure. No, that's a tremendous network. There's no question about it. So just getting me to think about that one for a second. So when you have a network like that, how roughly, I mean, I get it fluctuates and stuff like that, with a vision coming out of COVID and stuff like that, and the downside of that, obviously, over the last few years and stuff like that. A rough estimate and stuff like that, because obviously there's so many variables, but with you spread out across your region and territories and stuff like that, how many events would you look at doing domestically in a year, let's say?
So like domestically, meaning like locally?
Locally,
like
regionally, state.
so nationally we're doing like about 6 a year. All right, so nationally,
Okay.
so like Florida, Arizona, California, and Georgia are like our main places where we host like hitting events, or like where we're doing like it may be like a perfect game tournament where we're bringing guys from all over the nation, or a national tournament. So, we do about 6 of those a year, and then we do 2 international a year. So we're going to either Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic, or places like mostly the Caribbean or St. Thomas. We do a lot of events in those places as well. Those are the relationships that we built right before COVID and through COVID. And so now
Perfect.
we just we're going back, and kind of like, now that the travel restrictions are kind of being lifted, and people are feeling more comfortable as far as on the international level, where we've got those trips to Dominican and Puerto Rico on the map, so on the calendar. So we're really excited about that. I think anytime though, like when you're talking about domestically, nationally, internationally, I think the biggest thing is like whenever you can get a player out of their comfort zone and expose them to new coaches, or a new opportunity in a tournament or a camp, or just maybe it's workouts, but they're out of their comfort zone, and they're forced to kind of tap into the skills again, like I said earlier, they already know, and then getting some information maybe that they don't know, and then when they put it all together, once they in an hour, I've seen it with Reggie, Desi Relaford. He's part of our organization. He comes in, like I mentioned, LC. I mentioned Joey Davis, LC Smith, right? These
Yep.
guys, literally, I'm seeing a change in an hour.
Yes.
Like literally, like on the it could be like a balance issue, or not being in balance, or just a small little thing that you can tell a player. But like once they kind of figure it out in an hour, it's like a different player, and I've witnessed that from me coaching, or watching the mentors that I'm bringing in. Like it's just like it's amazing to see that, because I think when I was growing up, thinking about change and thinking about like adjustments and things like that, I always thought, like in the beginning, like, man, if I work on this, a couple years from now, I'll see results, like. But to see stuff like now, my experience as a player and as a coach now, but to see stuff in terms of a positive change in a very short amount of time, like 30 minutes or an hour, and then that confidence that breeds,
Yeah.
and then seeing the player just kind of like light up with a smile, and thank you, coach, and that to me like keeps me coming back, and that's why I do what I do.
It's priceless, man. It really is priceless and stuff like that. And just listening to you talk about the guys and stuff like that, I know exactly what you mean. It's these guys can see probably a list, X amount of things that they would fix, but they have the knowledge and the experience to realize that we're not fixing 15 things today. We're not fixing 10. We're going to just focus on one thing today, because they get the human component with their experience and stuff like that. And I think that's so powerful that you have them in your network and the package and stuff like that. So again, let's say people are wanting to just be in, they're not ready for the cruise yet, which we're going to talk about next, but they're maybe, I could be local, a statewide one, maybe a regional tournament. I'm not sure if I could go to a national one yet, but again, how did they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can go to Team Avenue Baseball. So www.teamavenuebaseball.com, or you can call me at 559-761-9421. Either way, I'm available. I'm accessible. If I don't pick up, you can always send me a text on that 559-761-9421 number.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask what age groups do you like to try with? I mean, in this travel ball world that we live in, Thomari, which has gotten out of control and chaotic, 10, 8, 9, 12. I don't think you're looking at those kids. I think you're probably around that 13 or 14 and then up type of thing, when they've got a little bit of stability. And like you said, you want to take them out of their comfort zone, but you don't want to overwhelm them either.
Yeah. So in terms of the events, I would say we kind of geared towards the middle school, the high school range, so the four, or like mainly like I would say 14 to 18, right?
Yes.
So when it comes to like especially the international stuff, the national stuff, there, you're a lot more, when it comes to traveling and getting out of that comfort zone, like you mentioned, Kirk, it's for the 12s and the 10s, I just don't have access. It's not like I don't help them. We have done events in the past, but in terms of my database and what I tend to kind of find myself hosting events for, is like, your reach, and so I help players of all different ages, but when it comes to the events, I would definitely say it's that 14 to 18U range. When it comes to like players just that they're needing help in general, like I said, when it comes to the personal player development, some of the local stuff, then we'll go younger,
Sure.
the 10U, the 12U, and younger, even
Yeah.
younger than.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and I hate to say this as the marquee event of Team Avenue, because it's really not the marquee or whatever. And I guess it's more like the added bonus. It's like the thank you for being a part of Team Avenue component of it. And that's what we're talking about right now, Dirtbags. And that's the cruise baseball events that is completely unique. I'd never heard of it before, haven't heard of it since meeting Thomari and diving in and talking with him, thinking, oh my God, I'm all over that, dude. I want to be 16 again and do this or whatever and that type of stuff. So talk to me. How do you even begin to fathom this?
Well, definitely big shout out to my wife. Thank you for serving this one up like a front toss right here. Because I have to give all the credit to my wife, not only for like her patience, in terms of like knowing that, hey, when we met, I was running Team Avenue, and that she's always been very supportive. So I just want to give my wife, Jana, a shout out.
Absolutely.
But we were on a cruise and we were in the jacuzzi, and we thought about like, wouldn't it be really cool if we can get off, like when we port, if we can get off and play against a baseball game and play against a local team, and we were actually, we left out of Long Beach out here in Southern California. And so we were just, we're in Mexico. So, we thought like, even in Mexico, there's baseball, wouldn't that be cool? But then my wife was like, well, what if we can go to 3 places, instead of just one, And so she looked up a cruise line, and, it went to Dominican, Puerto Rico, and St. Thomas, and it ended in Turks and Caicos. So I knew 3 out of those 4 places that had baseball, And so Turks and Caicos ended up being like the family fun day.
Okay.
But basically research that cruise line, the itinerary and the schedule and the port times, and we actually had to go, experience it ourselves to try it out, to make sure everything, like all the relationships were said. And so we went on we just said, hey, she found one, and we went on a cruise to all those places. And we met some really cool coaches. Some of the coaches we knew already. Some of them we just showed up. We just showed up and started talking to coaches,
Wow.
And just the byproduct of that, we came back home and we just put a schedule together. We put a marketing plan together, and we said, hey, you know what? Let's just go ahead and just go for it. And so basically the whole idea was just to take the same thing that we do. The only difference is on the ship, we're going to be doing personal development workshops, and we're going to have college coaches with us. We're going to have Reggie Smith with us. We're going to have Desi Relaford with us. We're going to have, LC Smith with us. We're going to have Joey Davis with us. So, and we're just going to like pour onto to the players, and really the logistics side of it made it even that much easier, because normally, we're stressing out about a bunch of stuff, but like now we're on a cruise.
Great
so not
call.
coaches, if they want to order, room service is part of it. If the players want to order room service is part of it. We do there's ropes courses. So we did team building stuff, I mean, like, so the cruise, like the logistical side of it, and all of the, the restaurants and the food and the entertainment, and, you couple that with, we're getting off the ship and we're playing against local teams from Dominican, local teams from Puerto Rico, local teams from St. Thomas.
Fantastic.
Like we did 3 in a row, like back to back to back. We couldn't get enough of it. And then unfortunately the pandemic hit. So 2019, January, we got back, and so we just barely made it back, which was great.
Okay.
And now I know cruises are, they're getting back going again. So
Starting
I'm
to get going
super
again.
excited about it. Because we had a really good thing going, and all the players and the parents, they literally couldn't believe that they were there. They couldn't believe who they were talking to in terms of the staff, the time that we invested. So it was really cool. I know the players still to this day, they text me, when's the next one? When's the next one? They can't wait. And so like now that again the travel restrictions are being lifted, and there's having like you're being tested, and making
Sure.
sure that you're safe, and all those protocols. We're basically making sure that we're understanding how everything needs to happen, so we can give the players and the parents as much information as possible, so they can make a decision if they feel comfortable traveling.
For sure. So responsible of you. And I know you were like that before or whatever and stuff like that. So it's not new. It's almost like you're just kind of waiting until they open, and they have. So that's great. And I know they can go to the website or whatever and find out more about this summer's cruise right there. So Dirtbags Go, like get looking at it, get exploring it and stuff like that. All the information is there for you. The details, the breakdown of the logistics, like Thomari was saying about, what's kind of with the cruise, what's with the baseball trips, tons of photos and images of past events that they've been running, stuff like that. And you just heard the lineup of coaches and I'll call baseball dignitaries when I'm talking about a Reggie Smith, or I'm hearing that name and stuff like that, because I think they warrant that justification. So I will be calling them that. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. We're not just talking about a baseball event. We're talking about a baseball lifetime memory. Like, you might have
100%.
kids that come out of this in 15 years when they're done their career or whatever, and that they're saying, Thomari, man, I'm all in on this. I'm going to be a coach for you. I'm going to be a helper of it. Does that go into the thought process at all?
Well, Kirk, I mean, I appreciate you bringing that up, because that's really the gratifying piece to what I do. I mean, Team Avenue Baseball has been going on strong for 10 years straight, and that's obviously before the pandemic and the
Sure.
travel restrictions. But, like we've had coaches come back and, go on trips, and you kind of like basically they pay it forward, or what, the information that they were given to help catapult them to their dreams and their goals, and all of the things that they had, when they were like 15, 16, and they come back at 20, 21, and, they come back and say, hey, coach, how can I be a part of what you're doing? I mean, I get that all the time. And that, honestly, like that kind of that reciprocity is why, it's confirming that, hey, this is the right thing to do. Anytime you're passionate about something and you pursue it, and you know, when it's not about the money, when it's about the cause, when it's about the reach, when it's how you can touch a player in a way where, they say you've improved my prayer life, or, because we pray before and after, our events, or it could be a situation where, you overcame my fear of like public speaking, which that's one of the biggest fears that, most people have. It's like burning alive, drowning, and public speaking. Let's be honest. It's just like it's up there, in terms of fears. And so to being able to like overcome that in a player, or the parents say, hey, I've seen my son change in such a short period of time, that just further confirms that, hey, we're doing the right thing. We're on the right track when it comes to how we do it, because I think that's a big piece. A lot of parents ask me all the time, hey, coach, what should I do? Or where should I send my son? One of the first things I asked is, what does your son want? And really like, getting them to, be as proactive as possible in what they want. Because once you have like the goals that you have in mind and what you want, then it's a matter of like putting, action steps together that align with those goals, and if you can do that consistently, it doesn't matter what you want to do. It could be like, hey, I want to, lead the league in hitting this year. Okay, well, that's a pretty big goal. Okay, last year, what'd you hit? Well, I hit 300. Okay, cool. We got something to work with. So now we can kind of start putting a plan together on how to get from 300 to, 400. Let's say that might do it. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But we have to really put those action steps together, and it can't just be like, hey, I just want to do it, and you just sit back and think it's going to happen through osmosis. Because as we know, like what Tommy Lasorda said, hey, the key to success comes through the avenue of hard work,
That's
you
right.
know, and so if you're working hard, that's one thing. But working hard on the right stuff is another piece. You know, you can be practice makes perfect, but you know, when your perfect practice actually will get you a lot further than, you know, just practicing. You know, when I was coming up in high school, I used to set the tee up almost like I was practicing getting jammed. And I would hit all every day, and I'm practicing getting jammed every day, not knowing until one day Greg Vaughn, I'm at Sacramento City College, and he's like, "Hey kid, hey, put the tee in front of the plate, you know, and not like even with it." So now you're working on getting short to it, long through it, but you know, you got some extension and you're working on, most importantly, hitting the ball in front of the plate versus practicing getting jammed. So that was like, that taught me, you know what, you know, it's not just practice makes perfect. It's that perfect practice and how you can be very detailed and having a something that, you know, I want to accomplish this. And that's the first step in putting the plan together. And I
Yeah.
think that's very important.
I love it, man. And I say it all the time when I'm working with training parts. It's exactly right. If I have to ask you to work hard, we're already not a fit. No disrespect. Doesn't mean you're not a good human being, but we're just not a fit. Because if I got to motivate you to work hard, that's work in itself. We're never going to get to the work smart stage. And that's what I said, right? Work hard's got to be an automatic, and then we're going to learn how to work smart. And that means I have to help educate you, but I have to follow up and make sure you confirm it by giving me feedback to the questions I have, right? And I love where we're going with this. And Dirtbags, we're going to continue with this. Just a little last minute little surprise for you or whatever and stuff like that. Yeah, Thomari's our sponsor with Dirtbag Baseball Talk on the Sports Byline USA Network and stuff like that. But he's also right there with the YouTube videos and stuff like that. And we're going to keep evolving on this roadmap top, and we're going to keep regular videos coming to you through Team Avenue Baseball and Dirtbag Baseball Nation. And we're just going to keep growing this because we know the questions are out there. We know the overwhelming anxiousness of youth baseball right now in North America, worldwide almost. And we want to help empower you, educate and empower you to become the best that you can become, sure. But more importantly, to actually have fun in the journey, to actually have fun as a player, as a parent, or a youth coach. So that's what we're really excited to. So again, before we wrap this episode up, Thomari, give them the information again. How do they get in touch with you? How do they make it happen?
Sure. I appreciate that, Kirk. Yeah, so www.teamavenuebaseball.com. And again, that's www.teamavenuebaseball.com. And 559-761-9421 is my direct access. Definitely give me a call or text. I love to, however I can help with the baseball journey. I'm here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we'll have it at the bottom of our post on YouTube as well, those contact information for Thomari, not only the contact, but where you can follow him as well on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, but more Instagram for them and stuff. And you know what, buddy? As most of my guests or whatever, and I hate to cut it short or whatever, and that even though it's not short or whatever, and that, but it just, you know how we get so excited about these things and that and get into them and stuff like that. But I think that's probably a pretty good place for everybody to start today, get their head wrapped around the uniqueness that is Thomari Story-Harden and Team Avenue Baseball, and replay it as many times as you can or you want to. There is no limit on it, right? The information's there to reach out to him for conversation. Unbelievable guy. It won't be a short one because he's like ourselves. He's passionate about this game of baseball, passionate about paying it forward and seeing that next generation have a great time. So, dude, love you as always, man. Great catching up with you, man. And you know what? I'm excited about doing it regularly with you guys and the network and stuff like that, and helping answer a lot of the questions that are coming in from hitting with Reggie, maybe pitching and stuff like that with Joey, to so on and so forth. And you know, even just picking your brain on those minor league days that you went through, little tidbits and advice that you can give that only you can give. So that's awesome, man.
That's what it's all about. I really appreciate the platform that you're giving, Team Avenue Baseball, myself, the coaches that are part of our family. Um, uh, However we can help and collaborate, we're here. Um, and really, it's about the player at the end of the day, and the player that is passionate, that wants to learn, that wants this information. Those are the players that when I've always said, when good coaches and good players get together, it's like magic, and that's how you pay it forward. That's how you really give back to the game that's given so much to yourself, and so that's why I like giving back, and I know that's why I surround myself with people like yourself, Kirk, and
We
and
appreciate it, man.
Dirtbag Nation. It's like, man, this is going to be really fun. I look forward to it.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate it as always. And so, one last time, Dirtbag Nation, you know what? Again, check out Team Avenue Baseball at www.teamavenuebaseball.com and our other sponsor, Your Credit Pulse. Again, Your Credit Pulse, PULSE.com. Check them out. Hey, they're all in on this and stuff like that. We're going to be fortunate enough to be having the Thomari and Your Credit Pulse on as well, and explaining that it's the uniqueness in the Your Credit Pulse as well, in not just on refinancing a house, not just refinancing a car or whatever else, getting a loan. It's more how it's related to your baseball journey or softball journey, and how he can help you out with that as well. So we're going to have that also. So check them out. Check them out. Thanks to you both for being a part of the nation. You're all in, man. And we love being a part of Team Avenue Baseball and Your Credit Pulse as well, because the right things are happening and the right things are moving in the right direction. So thank you all, Dirtbag Baseball Nation, for watching, listening, being a part. Keep sending those questions in to us. You got questions, send them in to us. Kirk at dirtbagbaseballnation.com. We'll get them answered, whether it's a personal answer or a question to be answered on a later episode. And then, hey, if you're looking for Dirtbag swag, you know what? Go to dirtbagbaseballnation.com and get your hands on it. So until next episode, Thomari, be safe. I see the sun is shining, man. Life is good out there with Yar. Say hi to the missus. And hey, until next time, Dirtbags, you know what time it is. It's time to get up, get after it, and get dirty. See you next episode.